Welcome back to Only Talk Sports. We talk sports every single day, or at least we try to. I'm Roach Jeffrey, and subscribe to the channel if you like sports content. Hit that notification bell so you never miss another video. Now today, me and Buckeye Mike discuss whether we think Jim Harbaugh will leave for the NFL or stay at Michigan.
The first topic today, let's talk some more in-depth Jim Harbaugh to the NFL. What do you think about this speculation?
Well, I think it's really interesting because of the fact that last year we had the same discussion with Jim Harbaugh to the NFL. Thought about, maybe getting the Vikings job. It didn't happen for whatever reason. Stayed at Michigan, and now it's happening all over again. But the difference is that there are multiple jobs that are, potentially calling his name. The Panthers and the Colts and the Broncos and whoever else has a job available he could potentially be linked to. I mean, again, it's a tough argument because a lot of people think he wants to win a national championship at Michigan before he makes the leap. But
Yeah,
we don't know if he cares enough about that. If he does care, then he could stay at Michigan. But does he even think he can win a national title at Michigan? I don't know either. Because again, you see what you're having to go up with in college, but there are some good jobs available in the NFL. I mean, the Colts is a good job. I mean, the Panthers, if once Brady's gone, maybe, that he could lead him to the top of the NFC South. Broncos are really struggling right now, but there are decent jobs open. So, there's definitely a chance he could go, but I don't know if it would really benefit him either way to stay at Michigan or make the jump to the pros because it is much tougher to win in the NFL. And, he could, if he struggles, get fired. Whereas at Michigan, as long as he wins 10 to 12 games, he's never going to get fired. So it's going to be very interesting to see what he does.
yeah, I agree. We know he wants to win a Super Bowl, and the whole argument with leaving Michigan is, like you said, he tried it last year. There was something. There was either like a verbal deal or there's like some kind of thing in his contract where it's like, okay, I tried the NFL once, it didn't work out. Meaning, tried the interview with the Vikings, it didn't work. So now my focus is all on Michigan and trying to win the national title. And I don't want to go back to the NFL because I don't want to put Michigan in the position of the limbo for recruiting of, oh, will Harbaugh go? Will he stay? Will he go? And I think it was bullcrap to put it in there because then it's like, what are you going to do if an opening, like, let's say, for example, just randomly that Andy Reid retires or wants to move on to another team. So the Chiefs position opens up. Well, the Chiefs are built perfectly for Harbaugh to go in, run his system, and win a Super Bowl with the Chiefs. So I feel like, in my opinion, the wording of testing the waters for the NFL one time, and if it doesn't work, then don't do it anymore is kind of stupid on Michigan's part. I understand you want to keep your man, but if he wants an opportunity at something else, somewhere else, he should be able to take the opportunity if it's given to him. So I think that's why now you're seeing the reports of like, not necessarily will he go, but it's more like who will give him the better pay and the better, because part of it too is like supposedly he wants as much control as you can get. And I don't know if he was like that in San Francisco or not, but whatever he did in San Francisco, if he wants to go back to the NFL, he needs to do the same thing and have the same mindset because it worked. You got them to the Super Bowl. Yeah, you choked against your own brother in the Super Bowl, but you got there. And that's something a lot of people can't say. Like you and me will never, unless we somehow get hired on as like the ball kids or whatever, we're never going to be able to say we got to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I think that's a great point with the Kansas City Chiefs because, if for instance, like you said, Andy Reid would retire, that would be a perfect position. Because, I mean, like you said, they're already built to win. None of the teams that are really available at this time are built to win. Even though the Colts is a great job, they're in bad shape right now. And, I mean, if you can get a good quarterback in the draft or free agency or a trade, maybe you could turn it around and find a way to win more. But, yeah, there's not really a job at this point that Jim Harbaugh could go to and say, hey, I'm going to be able to win a Super Bowl very, very soon. You think he would want a job where he would be able to win a Super Bowl maybe in 2 to 4 years instead of maybe it would take 5 years plus to build. Because, I mean, he was only at San Francisco for 4 or 5 years. So, I mean, I just think that, to your point, he needs to go, if he's going to make that jump from Michigan to the NFL, it needs to be for a job that's going to give him a very good chance to win a Super Bowl really quick, because really you don't want to downgrade. And I know that the NFL is not a downgrade from college, but you're at the top of the college football world roughly. You might not be Georgia or Alabama, or even though you've beaten Ohio State 2 years in a row, maybe not even at their level for what they've done the last 10, 15 years, but you're at a really top in college. And I think if you're Jim Harbaugh, you should make the jump to the NFL for a team that's way better than Michigan, a better situation than Michigan, where you're going to be able to win, the more important prize, which is the Super Bowl over the national championship, which they're both fantastic. But any of these jobs that are available right now, I don't know if that he can achieve that, especially very quickly.
Yeah. I mean, to your point, like if you look at the main three options, I mean, Denver seems like maybe if they get the right coach and get the right system to go around Russ, but that's almost toxic in itself, because you're hearing things about like, well, Denver kind of wants to move on from Russ. They kind of see the mistake that they made getting Russ, but you got him. You got him for the contract you gave him. So you just need to deal with it, because you're making him look and sound to the point that like nobody else is going to want to take him from you anyway. Maybe the Browns, but I mean they are notorious for making stupid decisions, and that's why I say that. And that's coming from the Browns fan. But I mean, of the three options, I like Indy for him just because he did play at Indy. So now you're basically, instead of a Michigan man, now you're an Indy man. I mean, if you want to look at it that way, go that route. But I think it's almost neck and neck as far as if he would leave now. The two biggest options of like who is built and ready to win now, or like you're just missing a couple pieces and you just need to pick them up either in free agency after the drafts, or you can pick up pieces in the drafts, would be Indy and Carolina. Mm-hmm. Now, I harp on him a lot. I do. But Sam Darnold is decent. I don't know if he's built good enough to run a Harbaugh system. Granted, John O'Corn ran the Michigan system pretty well under Harbaugh. So that's why I'm like, if Harbaugh comes to Carolina, you could probably do pretty good with Sam Darnold. You wouldn't necessarily need to get a replacement quarterback and kick Sam to the curb. But I mean, the biggest thing with Indy that is a disadvantage compared to Carolina is the quarterback position, because you've got Matt Ryan, the old man Matt Ryan, who was about ready to sign up with AARP at quarterback. And yes, Matt Ryan's great. It's probably going to take him a few times, but I guarantee he's probably going to get to the Hall of Fame. Like he's not like Peyton Manning or Tom Brady. He's not no first ballot, no Drew Brees. but he's on the back nine of his career, so to speak. He's about, I would almost say he's like at the 15 to 18 hole range, that like last 3 or 4 holes. So the key with Indy is, if you want to draw Harbaugh in, you've got to convince him with, like, here's who we're thinking to get from the draft.
Mm-hmm.
And see if the quarterback that you want to get is going to draw him in. The other outlier to me that seems like maybe it would be a good fit would be Chicago, because Justin Fields is just crazy nuts. That dude is on fire. The other thing is, there was, and this kind of connects too, but there was rumors coming into the season, like, if Justin doesn't produce like 6 wins, more wins than last year at least, Chicago would move on from him. So maybe we see something where it's like, okay, we know Justin went to Ohio State, we know you coached Michigan and you coached against Justin. What if we're the Indianapolis Colts? What if we get Justin to come to Indianapolis and play for the Colts? You can come in with a quarterback who knows how to run that kind of system. Like, it doesn't bother me with that factor. Because we're trying to look at it from what would be the best fit for Harbaugh to go to the NFL, is the standpoint we're looking at. So if you bring a quarterback like Justin into Indy, I feel like he could run the Harbaugh system pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, to your point, I mean, the problem with the Colts is that since Andrew Luck retired, you look at the players that they've had. Carson Wentz, he was, injury prone, very inconsistent and not very reliable overall. He made a lot of mistakes. And then they brought in Phillip Rivers, and you've got Matt Ryan, and both of them are at the tail end of their careers. And Russell Wilson, to a lesser extent, I'm not saying he's at the end of his career. He's got more years left, obviously, than Matt Ryan, but he's not playing at the level that he used to. Even when he was at Seattle, he wasn't playing at the level he used to, and he was getting hurt more often. Not this year. He kind of got banged up toward the end of the season. But I just don't know if Denver, even with Russell Wilson, would be a great spot, because I don't know if he's going to ever play at the level that he did 5 years ago. Maybe he could with Harbaugh. Maybe he could get it all fixed, but he's just not playing at that high of a level. That's why the Seahawks got rid of him. And then you look at the Colts. I mean, again, they're going to have to get another quarterback. He's not going to be able to do it with Matt Ryan. So he's going to have to get another quarterback. To your point, maybe Justin Fields would come over to the Colts, or maybe they can draft a quarterback. Who knows? But like what you said, if you look at those 3 openings, if Harbaugh was to take a spot, even though the Colts is the most logical option because the closest currently is, he played for the team, has all those connections, the Panthers actually is probably the best option, because Sam Darnold is a competent quarterback. He's a young quarterback. He's got many years ahead of him. He can run the football. He's not elite at all, and he does make mistakes. I mean, he's definitely not a top half quarterback in the NFL, but you look at the Panthers' defense, it's elite. Their defense is really, really good. They have great players on that side of the ball, and their offensive line has improved. And even getting rid of Christian McCaffrey, their running game was really solid at the end of the season for the most part. And they've got a lot of draft capital in the future. So, I mean, really, even if he went to the Panthers and Sam Darnold did not work out, all then you would need is a quarterback, and you'd be fine. So I don't think that the Colts are as easy of a fix as the Panthers. I think that he could fix the Colts. I mean, because, again, he has a lot of love for the organization, the fact that he, played there. But I think he could fix it. But the Panthers is probably the easiest job at this point of the 3, because of the fact Brady's not going to be at the Bucs forever. And, the other 2 teams, the Saints and the Falcons, are really struggling right now. So I don't think, if I had to guess, I would think that Harbaugh stays at Michigan. But if he was to take an NFL job, I would probably say the Panthers have a slight edge just because of the chance to win. But probably he would take the Colts if he did take a job. He would probably take the Colts, but I would not be surprised if he waits another year for a better opening.
I was going to say, if he does stay at Michigan,
Mm-hmm.
do we see him waited out until an opening, like I said, Chiefs, maybe Belichick's on, Belichick is not going to be at New England forever. Maybe he waits until New England pops open. But the problem with New England compared to where you're currently not really having the problem at Kansas City yet is the expectations are really high. And now the only difference is like, yes, he's met the expectations in Michigan, and Michigan's is usually roughly high. I mean, Ohio State seems to be higher, but um, so point is he's capable of meeting high expectations, but the reason he left San Francisco, not necessarily because he couldn't, because the job opened at Michigan and he wanted the job in Michigan. I feel like the reason he left San Francisco was the fact that he couldn't win a Super Bowl. He should have won one, and he should have went to two. Because in all honesty, he probably should have beat his brother in that Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a great point. We kind of made it earlier. It just depends on whether his urge to want to win a Super Bowl is that large. I mean, if it is, he's going to go back to the NFL. And if he's content at Michigan, then he'll stay in college. But the fact that the last 2 years he has entertained these rumors to go to the NFL kind of suggests that he eventually will. Subscribe to the channel if you like sports content. Like this video down below. Comment down below whether you think Jim Harbaugh will leave for the NFL or whether he'll stay at Michigan. And I'll see you next time.